Bill and both Michael were mentioning with some of the aviation enthusiasts that were there with them. Really amazing to see some of these airplanes that, some of these were commissioned, built back in the 1940s and 50s and 60s. And it just goes to show just how amazing it is to see that they're still flying in the sky here as well, and the just dedication that the folks have.
Very well maintained machines by folks who, really are honoring everything that they mean to our country. And as we heard,
yeah, it certainly is, Sion.
Folks of the National Cemetery.
What I was going to say.
Sorry, go ahead, Justin.
Yep. No, it's okay. My apologies. What I was going to say is we've actually got, it looks like we're getting the meat of it now. So we've had 3, 6, 9, we've got 12. So they're all kind of moving in bunches of 2s or 3s off into the distance there. But, just a magnificent day for this. What's great as well is we were actually just talking to a family that was here earlier. And she and husband and wife were out here with their 3 boys and the dog, and they said, that they've been like everybody else, socially distancing, trying to stay safe for the family and for their friends in their neighborhood. This is the first chance they've gotten out to come out, get an opportunity. And like you just listened to the oil just spoke here, mentioning they didn't get a chance to see the Blue Angels, but wanted to come on out and sort of do something together as a family. And that's sort of the feeling that we get. As we mentioned here, it's just amazing to see that we've got, multiple generations of aviation fans and folks that just decided this was a good way to spend Mother's Day. So it's a beautiful day up here in 290 out in the Cypress area. And we're really just enjoying watching the planes pass on by.
And it's quite the treat indeed. Thanks a lot for that, Justin. And interestingly enough, what we haven't mentioned since the start of our broadcast, and we certainly want to remind you, be sure to take pictures and be sure to share them with us by way of our social media accounts, Facebook, Twitter, and everything else. If perhaps you've got a better vantage point of some of these planes as they pass over, folks would love to see that if perhaps they missed it. So be sure to share by way of social media so that we can perhaps share it with viewers a little bit later on in our newscasts coming up at 5 and 10, because it's awesome to see these things go right overhead.
Yes, and we know we have some excellent photographers out there, amateurs, professionals of all kinds, iPhone experts, taking really nice pictures, so we'd love to see them. And I continue to marvel at just the skies have been extra blue, here for a while. But when you look on a day like today, it just really is very awe-inspiring. And can we get a location on where this camera picture is coming from, guys, in the booth?
I got a little. So it's actually Sky 2 flying along with them, so it's kind of hard to tell because they've got 120 miles. Our guess, it's going to be along the route at this point. We were checking in with Cypress a little bit ago with Justin, but next up it's going to be heading out to Cinco Ranch. It's somewhere on the northwest to the west part of the county out there. And again, it's still a little hard to tell specifically which planes we're talking about, but after all, there are about 50 planes in the air, but we're talking about small fighter planes to the big bomber planes and things like that. But nevertheless, it is just incredible to see and the stories that folks have to tell behind them. The mom there at the cemetery and the gentleman who talked about his dad and his grandparents in the war as well. And you do, as you mentioned, you marvel to know that it's, some of these planes are 50 plus years old and there they are in the sky as they were way back then at that point, potentially fighting in a war before it did finally come to an end. So it is something incredible to see. We know there was a little hiccup in takeoff. It was delayed by a couple of minutes, but you think about it to think that, wow, these planes are still able to take off and get up there and people are in awe, just as they always are several decades later.
And it's such a great moment for folks to be able to gather, whether you're watching it on Channel 2 right now with us, or if you're able to leave the house and get a bit of fresh air on this Sunday. It's just a great event to be able to partake in as we commemorate the 75th anniversary of VE Day.
And what we had talked about before too, we've been cooped up because we have been quarantined because of this pandemic, and I think that you saw the patriotism when Blue Angels flew over the Houston area and you saw folks come out to get together. Of course, this is something totally different, but I think the sentiment is still there, that idea of coming together, and it is somewhat patriotic to see all these planes that when you played an important role in our history, and folks are itching to get out. Of course, the state continues to reopen in phases, and folks are allowed to get out and about right now, but even more so to see something. It's not every day that you have these number of planes flying overhead, so to be able to be with one another, and as Justin mentioned, generations, the old, the young, and everyone in between, just to see it and admire it, and you could not have asked for a better day weather-wise.
The history is so important that we do not forget, and we know we have a lot going on right now that is historic in nature, right? That's enveloping and happening right now. But of course, we always want to remember the past as well, so that we do not repeat it. So we have enjoyed bringing you this coverage here, and we want to continue to look at this shot here of these warbirds flying across the Houston area. They should be in your area if they haven't already. They are making their way around.
And you should hear them on their way.
You definitely hear them. If you hear them in your house, make sure you step outside and look up. And if there's somebody that you can grab with you and look up, it's quite a moment to behold.
Yeah, it's going to be going on for quite some time now. And the good news is for folks down on the southwest part of, or southeast part, I should say, the planes are on their way. They're coming your way. If you hadn't heard them or you hadn't seen them just yet, give it another half hour or so. They'll be out there. Again, they're going to be looping around all the way down to the Pearland, Friendswood area, even as far down as Dickinson. And of course, Kemah, not a bad spot right now to be. If you're out there on the boardwalk enjoying it, they're going to be looping around before finally landing where they took off from, which is going to be Ellington Airport.
We are looking forward to get more reaction from folks. We do have, as you saw, crews spread out across the area. We're going to be hearing more of people's reactions to this historic commemoration taking place in our area today.
Of course, we're going to have a complete wrap coming up a little bit later on in our newscast, and hopefully at that point we'll have better pictures and images that folks have taken, and we'll be able to share with you a little bit better, and maybe get some of those specifics on the planes. But boy, it is quite the sight to see right now up there in the sky.
And kudos to our Sky 2 pilot, keeping up, right with the warbirds.
On point, I know. It's a chopper.
Holding that shot.
We're in right now, and it's a very clear shot too. So. We enjoy being able to bring this to you. You know, we are in a week of flyovers, I guess you should say, and even though it was postponed, it is up. It is awesome to see, and we're certainly enjoying the opportunity to bring it to you.
The fight to the finish, flyover underway right now over the Houston area. The path really going across much of the city today. We encourage you to get out and look up if you can, to take a look. That's the hashtag actually want you to use. If you're going to tweet or use any sort of social media, the hashtag look up with your photos so that you can